Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Said Moses, O my sustainer, open up my heart to thy light and make my task easy for me and loosen the knot from my tongue so that they might fully understand my speech and appoint for me out of my kinfolk one who will help me to bear my burden, Harun, my brother. Add thou through him to my strength and let him share my task, so that together we might abundantly extol thy limitless glory and remember thee without ceasing. Verily thou seest all that is within us, said he. Thou hast granted all that thou hast asked for, O Moses, and indeed we bestowed our favors upon thee at the time long since past, when we inspired thy mother with this inspiration. Place him in the chest and throw him into the river, and thereupon the river will cast him ashore. And one who is an enemy unto me and an enemy unto him will adopt him. And thus early I spread my own love over thee, and this in order that thou mightst be formed under my own eye. And thou wast under my own eye when thy sister went forth and said to Pharaoh's people, shall I guide you unto a woman who might take charge of him? And so we returned thee unto thy mother, so that her eyes might be gladdened, and she might not sorrow any longer. And when thou camest of age, thou didst slay man, but we did save thee from all grief. And although we tried thee with various trials, then thou didst sojourn for years among the people of Midian, and now thou hast come here as ordained by me, O Moses, for I have chosen thee for my own service. I just wanted to read that again. This is from a program we had in February 2014. In Oakland, in fact, and that's what this flyer is from. But a lot of people talk about missions, wearing the proper, does your fit the shoes of your mission, all that kind of stuff. And so, in thinking about that, as much as we try to move around and away from personal subjects, to me, this is not an individual mission, this is a community mission. It's a mission for our time. I believe that what we're involved in now is a strategic time. It's a special time, and there are these times that come every now and then throughout history. And I believe that history has evolved us personally and as a community to fulfill the needs of today. The needs of today is unbelievable. I mean, the U.S. is such a bully criminal, in the world today, that is unbelievable. We know the apparatuses of state. Let's call it the deep state. All of those realities are designed, as we said the other day, to keep the world in turmoil, to keep the world fighting, to keep people from from enjoying the good life. Because see, where we are now, and technology and what have you, we can design our life on the planet Earth the way we want it. You know, all we have to do is slow down a little bit, develop a global vision of what we want to do, and where we could have, there's unlimited possibilities. There's, for instance, someone who want to live in the era of the 1920s. They could take Iowa or something like that, right? It's unlimited. Say people want to go all the way into the future as much as we can. Robots and everything. Well, they could take California, you know. People that, now all of this is under Brotherhood, and basically it would have to be a non-money economy. But in order to reach this, it's the same story. High level of morality. And when we look at what we have to overcome with a money economy, whether it's illegal logging, using up all the trees, whether it's wars in each country destroying the lives of people, whether it's hunting little snow animals, white sea, it's all based on money. And that means it's based on greed. So this tazkiyah bil nafs is the cornerstone of what we're talking about. And it's not an easy job, but what we're talking about is definitely dreamland stuff. But we're not all alone in this, in Dreamlandia. We're not alone by a long shot. There's a lot of people who are feeling the need, the desire to make the world a good place. Now, I believe that we have our special mission. We can't do the whole thing. So there's a certain mission that we have. And I'll read a few of the things that we have. This is from 5 years ago. Imam Musa will inshallah share case study after case study on how to practice psychological guerrilla warfare. Okay, at that time, and definitely by now, we've already perfected psychological guerrilla warfare. Actually, we've won that war. We've already won that war. There's nothing anybody can do to change that. We have won that war. College of Strategic and Islamic Studies will give you hands-on experience on how to make U.S. agents and collaborators expose themselves. Well, it's getting almost out of hand, the things that the agents are doing. To expose themselves, to show, in other words, it's not a secret anymore, it's not, everybody is who they are. Learn Our Masjid al-Islam has exposed the whole Zionist American network in the public sphere. Never has so few done so much for so many without visible support. So what does that mean is that we have basically shown the world what they can do. We've taken the fright out of the system. You know, we've taken the fear out of this system. A special session on design fitna. What is it and how it works? Design fitna, that was from about 2010 and 11. Design fitna is beautiful. We don't have to go over it tonight, but we know that design fitna is one of the cornerstones of what we've been doing all of this time. We designed a program to get the response that we want from the system. Now, nobody has done that before because nobody, I don't know whether they, I watched some news reports of back in the 80s and 90s when they was finishing off the mafia in, in Jersey and the New York area. And the FBI would pull up right behind the people, bumper to bumper, and press them and follow them and do all that, okay? That's because they thought they was doing something wrong. In other words, they had themselves a guilty conscience, or else they would turn around and tell the people, what's wrong with you? You gotta get off my bumper. You can't, you don't have no, you got a warrant? All of that stuff. And when we have these little meetings like we had with the feds, I remember how I was talking with them. And at some periods I was talking very harsh, In other words, I was telling them, no, you're like Nazis. I said, the difference between you and Nazis is, Nazis said we don't like you. We're Nazis. You know what I mean? We like these people, Aryans, and we don't like these people. That's what we do. I said, but you guys fly the flag of democracy. You talk about love and peace and tranquility. I said, no. So, but when we think, we have to constantly monitor ourselves, which we do, because this job is so big and there's so many things that are influencing what happens. Design fitna is hard to explain to people because people don't believe that you can. So we're going to have to really deal with that a long time. We're going to have to deal with that a long time where we don't just start running it and then this is design fitna. But we're going to have to explain to them because, see, they have a certain picture of the FBI. And that picture that they have of the FBI, NSA, ICE, all of these people, Homeland Security, it's a police state idea. We do definitely live in a police state now. They have pulled out all the stops. They set up all the people. Even you saw the NRA, whatever they is, had trouble. They had trouble with their leadership. And that's just the people who want to get rid of their guns. They're doing everything, and that means that, of course, we know who the people are on radio broadcasts, TV stations, because we've been here so long and we've been involved so long that we know the people on the level that they are. We see how they institute and develop groups and movements, you know what I mean, and leadership. And there's no doubt about it that the leadership here in America and most of the places around the world is definitely controlled by wealth, money, and power. What did one guy call it on the radio, Dave? Capitalistic surveillance system. This he called it something else, but it's basically a capitalistic surveillance system that we're living under. that capitalism is surveilling all of the people. And they're getting all the, whether it's internet, whether it's Facebook, they're getting all that information. And whatever they do with it is their business in a way, but they still got people conscious that the big brother is watching you. To reach these goals of new worldism and what have you, is actually going to take a lot of work. Of course, without the hand of God, without Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I don't see how it would, it's too many pieces to come together, you know. Now, that's true in everything. I mean, in all our life wouldn't be like it is unless Allah, and so we know it as Muslims. But we have a case here with Moses and his brother. And he wants to be put in a situation where he can extol Allah's limited light and unlimited, limitless glory and remember him without ceasing. And by the way, I watched the Ten Commandments again last week, something like that. You know what I mean? So it's there. So, for one thing that the Christian story don't tell, or the biblical, they hint that Moses' mother, that the daughter went and got Moses' mother to suckle. They hint at that, but it's not highlighted like it is in the Quran. That Moses' mother was hurting so bad. When you see it show up, it comes in like the lady was a wet nurse. Her name was Yosebel or something like that, and she was, you know, Moses didn't even know her, didn't remember her, and he saved when the old lady was getting ready to get pulled under the thing. That was the woman that nursed him. Technically, it was his mother. So there are a few differences. The house of Pharaoh in the Quran hints that this is that Moses was picked up by Pharaoh's wife. The biblical story, it's Pharaoh's sister, if you remember. Okay. So there are differences, but the main points about it is still the same. He goes to Midian. Midian is the same. Was that Shuaib? Not Shuaib.
Shuaib.
It was Shuaib, yeah. Shuaib was at Midian, you know. And and they worshiped the one God. They're children of Ismail, and they knew their ancestry and all of that. So it was all, basically what I'm trying to say is that we're each born with a destiny. Moses is asking specific things, and Allah grants him those things. Say, shoot, that ain't nothing I've been at you back from day one, from Jump Street. And then Allah is related in the Quran. And so it's not a haphazardness like, I'll go on but in a minute, but example. In the Quran, John the Baptist and Esau are first cousins. They are in the Bible too. But John the Baptist is down there baptizing people, and Jesus strolls up, You know what I mean? Like he never seen it before. Now, in the Quran, and it's like it's kind of in the biblical rendition, but Elizabeth and Maryam are pregnant at the same time. In the Tafsir of Quran, it says that it looks like your son is making obeisance to mine, or no, my son, this Elizabeth, is making obeisance to your son. But in the biblical rendition, John the Baptist, before he is assassinated, it says, "Are you the one that was to come, or should we look for another?" That type of thing. Well, they first cousins. They raised up playing together. You know what I mean? And the biblical story is like they just meet. There's a guy down by the river called John the Baptist, crying in the wilderness, or hollering in the wilderness about redemption and salvation. We like the Quranic compactness. But whatever is going on, there's a destiny for each person. We don't always, very few people find out what their destiny is. Most people go along and they work on a job and they do what and they die. But they, remember, Allah knows the possibilities of each person. Those possibilities are possible destinies for each person. Now, Allah knows everything, so when we get to the crossroads, whether we're going to turn right or left, Allah already knows that. That's foreknowledge. But Allah don't make us turn right or left. We turn right or left, we go to heaven or hell by our own deeds. Now, Allah is Al-Ghafur Rahim, and His mercy outweighs His wrath. But now, on this thing of destiny, destiny is funny, you know. And when you start moving ahead, people start acting a little strange sometimes. Now, our community,